We'll highlight some, surprising standout performances and figure out what this result really means for Chelsea. Today, we're plunging into, a really high-stakes FIFA Club World Cup quarterfinal. This wasn't just any match, it was seriously dramatic. Played on July 4th, right there in Philadelphia, packed with unexpected twists, and it all came down to a last-minute decider.
It absolutely did. A real nail-biter. And for a deep dive today, we're unpacking Chelsea's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Palmeiras. To get the full picture, we've really dug into a whole stack of sources, detailed game reports from Reuters, ESPN, live updates from The Athletic, ACOL.com, plus insights from places like ASUSA, Sports Illustrated, even the official Chelsea site, and fan chatter on Reddit too.
And our mission for you listening is to go way beyond just the 2-1 scoreline. We want to peel back the layers, show you the compelling story behind this game, both in this tournament and longer term. Get ready for some aha moments about how elite football really works. So let's get into it.
Okay, setting the scene. We're at Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Friday, July 4th, 2025. And a huge crowd, right? Something like 65,782 fans packed in there. Massive game in the Club World Cup. But the drama, it started even before kickoff, didn't it?
Oh, definitely. Chelsea came into this facing some big hurdles right out of the gate. They were already missing key guys in midfield, Moisés, Caicedo, and Romeo Lavia. That was known. But then the real shocker captain, Reece James, gets injured during the warm-ups, just like that.
Wow, seriously, during warm-ups?
Yeah, and that meant 21-year-old Andrey Santos, who'd been at the club for, 2.5 years, he had to make his first Chelsea start in a Club World Cup quarterfinal. Huge pressure. His first start after all that time thrown into this game. I mean, how much did that scramble Chelsea's plans, especially with the other two already out?
It was immense. Look, you lose potentially 3 starting defensive midfielders, one of them your captain right before the game. That totally changes your tactical approach. Santos stepping in wasn't just swapping one player for another. It affects how you build play, how you screen the defense. It says a lot, actually, about the trust Maresca must have in him, even under those conditions. And it wasn't just Chelsea feeling the pinch. Palmeiras had big gaps too, missing Piquerez, Gustavo Gomez, Murillo, key defenders. Both teams were adapting on the fly.
And there was that other stuff going on too, that off-field context. The match started with a moment of silence, didn't it, for Andre Silva and Diogo Jota?
Yes, a very solemn start. And weirdly enough, Chelsea actually got fined by UEFA on the same day.
Really? What for? Does it say?
The sources didn't dive deep into the why of the fine, just noted the timing. But yeah, it just added another layer of, distraction. A bit of a strange backdrop to such a big game.
Okay, so despite all that disruption, Chelsea actually started really strong. First half, they looked dominant, had something like 68% possession, constantly probing that Palmeiras defense, especially down the right with Pedro Neto, it seems.
Yeah, they were pressing hard. And that early pressure, it paid off big time with a moment of, just pure individual brilliance. That really set the mood for their first half. It was the 16th minute. Cole Palmer gets the ball from Trevoh Chalobah just outside the box. And then, as one source put it beautifully, he just glided past 3 defenders with ease, like they weren't even there.
Glided past 3.
Wow. Yeah. And then dispatched this really precise left-footed strike into the bottom corner. Just pure class. A moment of magic, definitely.
Incredible goal. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, Chelsea might just run away with this thing. But here's where those classic football what-ifs come in. Because despite looking so good, they missed chances, didn't they? Christopher Nkunku, especially. A glaring miss around the 34th minute. Blasted it over with just the keeper left.
Exactly. And that's such a critical point in games like this. Psychologically. Chelsea should have been comfortable 2, maybe 3 goals up based on the play. By not taking those chances, they left the door open. They basically gave Palmeiras a bit of hope,
Right.
And that shifts the pressure. Suddenly, Chelsea are thinking, we dominated, but it's only 1-0, while Palmeiras are thinking, okay, we weathered that storm. We're still in this. That feeling, that belief, sometimes that's more powerful than any tactical tweak at halftime.
And that really sets up the second half perfectly, doesn't it? Because those missed chances kind of allowed Palmeiras to regroup. They came out after halftime looking totally different, full of energy, made the game much more end-to-end, much more open. What changed for them? Was it tactics, mentality?
It looked like a mix of both. They definitely seemed more aggressive, pressing higher, committing more players forward, maybe accepting more risk at the back. Clearly, they came out with this renewed belief that they could actually hurt Chelsea, not just sit back. And boy, did that pay off dramatically. 53rd minute, The equalizer.
Ah, yes, the Estevan goal. The teenager. Tell us about that one.
Oh, it was stunning. This kid, Estevan, he picks it up on the right, cuts inside, gets past Levi Colwill, and then just smashes this unbelievable shot from a tight angle. It flew over Robert Sanchez, the keeper, hit the underside of the bar and went in. A proper wonder goal. Seriously, people were calling it a contender for goal of the tournament already.
Wow. And the story here is just nuts, isn't it? This kid, Estevan, scoring a goal like that against the team he's about to join.
Exactly. That's the crazy part. He's only 18 years and 71 days old at the time, which, by the way, makes him the second youngest scorer ever at this revamped tournament.
No way.
And the second youngest Brazilian ever to score in Club World Cup history. And he does it against Chelsea, his future club. What does that say about his mentality, his focus? Pretty incredible.
Absolutely incredible. What did the manager say? Maresca must have had mixed feelings.
Well, Maresca's quote afterwards was quite something. He basically said, happy because we won, happy because he scored, so it's a perfect night. A very diplomatic way to put it.
Huh? Fair enough.
And even Cole Palmer was talking about how excited he was to eventually link up with him. So yeah, a really unique, fascinating narrative playing out right there on the pitch. A glimpse of Chelsea's future scoring against them.
You really couldn't make it up. And Chelsea's reaction was quick, wasn't it? Straight after the goal.
Almost immediate. 54th minute, bang, double substitution. Maresca brought on the new signing, João Pedro and Noni Madueke. Took off Liam Delap and Christopher Nkunku. Seemed like an effort to wrestle back control after being stunned like that.
Yeah, inject some fresh energy, maybe change the threat.
Definitely. It felt like a statement. Not just fresh legs, but different types of attackers to try and reestablish that dominance they'd lost. Showed some tactical agility from the bench.
Okay, so game tied 1-1. Tension rising. And the winning goal comes late, around the 83rd minute. And this one, well, it wasn't exactly a wonder goal, was it? Sources called it fluky.
Fluky is probably the right word, yeah.
Let's see.
Messy. Malo Gusto puts a cross in from the left. It takes a huge deflection off the Palmeiras defender, Bruno Futs. Totally wrong fits the keeper, Weaverton. And the ball actually bounces off Weaverton's back and trickles into the net.
Off his back. Oh, man.
Yeah. Initially, some thought it might be a Weaverton own goal, but officially it was given as an own goal by Agustin Gi, another Palmeiras player involved in the chaos somehow after the initial deflection off Futs. It was all a bit pinball.
So a really fortunate way to get the winner. Maresca still said afterwards they deserved to win, though. But with a goal like that deciding it, how much weight do you put on deserving versus just, well, getting lucky?
That's the eternal football question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, the goal itself, undeniably lucky. You can't script that kind of deflection and bounce.
Yeah.
But if you look at the whole game, the stats tell a slightly different story, maybe support Maresca's view a bit more. Chelsea had, 19 shots compared to Palmeiras' 7, and 6 shots on target versus their 2.
Okay, that's a pretty big difference.
It is. It suggests that over the 90 minutes, Chelsea did create significantly more attacking threat, applied more pressure. So yeah, the decisive moment was pure fortune. But the overall balance of play, you could argue Chelsea edged it and maybe earned that slice of luck.
Fair point. And some individuals really did step up for Chelsea, didn't they? Despite the weirdness. Andrey Santos, on that sudden debut, apparently had a strong game.
He did, yeah. Very composed considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez was described as all action in midfield, really driving them forward. And João Pedro, even just back from holiday, made a good impression when he came on, showed some spark. Interestingly, one source actually picked Trevoh Chalobah as Chelsea's man of the match. Solid at the back.
Right. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, consequence-wise. There were bookings.
Yes, and important ones. Both Liam Delap and Levi Colwill picked up yellow cards. And because of tournament rules or previous yellows, that means they're both suspended for the semifinal.
Ouch. So more selection headaches for Maresca.
Exactly. Just adds another layer of difficulty as they move forward. The squad depth will be tested again.
So speaking of moving forward, that nervy 2-1 win is in the bag. Where does Chelsea go from here? What's the next hurdle?
Well, they move into the semifinals. And guess what? It's another Brazilian opponent, Fluminense. And that game has its own interesting storyline because former Chelsea legend Thiago Silva is playing for Fluminense now.
Oh, wow. Thiago Silva. That adds some spice. Where's that game being played?
That semi is set for Tuesday, July 8th over at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Okay, so another Brazilian team. That makes it, 3 they faced in this tournament already? They lost to Flamengo in the group stage.
That's right. Flamengo, Palmeiras, now Fluminense. It's like a gauntlet of Brazilian football.
What does that tell us? I mean, about the strength of these Brazilian clubs in this new bigger club World Cup format, are they really pushing the European giants hard?
It absolutely suggests they are. Look, Flamengo, Palmeiras, Fluminense, these aren't just any teams.
Yeah.
They're top quality, tactically smart, technically gifted, and they fight hard. Facing them back to back to back like this, it's a massive test for Chelsea. It forces them to adapt constantly to different styles, different challenges. It really speaks volumes about the level of competition Brazil is bringing.
And for Chelsea, this young squad, maybe still finding its feet under Maresca, getting through these kinds of tough, high-pressure games, even if it's sometimes messy or lucky, how important is that for their development?
Oh, it's invaluable. You just can't replicate this kind of pressure cooker environment in training or even in many league games. For a young team, going through the drama, the individual moments, the setbacks, like the equalizer, the late winner, dealing with injuries and suspensions and still finding a way to win, that builds character. It builds resilience, cohesion, a winning mentality. It's huge for their long-term growth, way beyond just this tournament.
And presumably there's a decent financial reward too.
There is, yeah. Making the semifinals apparently nets them a cool $21 million USD, so not a bad bonus either.
Not bad at all. And the rest of the tournament is shaping up too, right? Other big quarterfinals happening?
Exactly. PSG playing Bayern Munich and Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. Those games will decide the other semifinalists. It's really heating up.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up. What does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well, you've seen how one football match can really be a small picture of bigger ideas, haven't you? The sheer unpredictability of sport, young talent suddenly bursting through under pressure, teams having to dig deep and show resilience against the odds, both on and off the pitch. This Chelsea win wasn't just a simple 2-1. It was kind of chaotic, definitely dramatic, driven by moments of sheer brilliance, that bizarre Estevan situation, and undeniable swipes of luck that somehow still felt earned.
It did. Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. In today's game, with all the analysis and data, how much does that whole narrative of luck versus deserving it really matter? Especially for a young team just trying to build chemistry and gain experience. And maybe, how will this incredibly tough run against three top Brazilian sides prepare Chelsea for whatever comes next? If they make it all the way to the final, will this have forged them into something stronger? Something for you to think about.